Olivia woke up to the gentle buzz of her phone alarm at 6:30 a.m. on a perfect Saturday morning in June. The early summer sun was already streaming through her London flat's curtains, promising a beautiful day ahead. She stretched luxuriously in bed, a smile spreading across her face as she remembered what today was, her long-awaited river adventure with Daniel. She and Daniel had been dating for 8 months now, and their relationship had been a whirlwind of romance, laughter, and deep connection. Daniel was a photographer, artistic and spontaneous in ways that balanced perfectly with Olivia's more structured life as a marketing consultant. He had surprised her 2 weeks ago with this plan. Let's escape London for a day. Just you, me, a boat, and the Thames. I know a perfect spot upstream where we can have the river almost to ourselves. Olivia had eagerly agreed. Living in London was exciting, but sometimes the city felt overwhelming. The crowds, the noise, the constant rush. The idea of spending a quiet day on the water with Daniel sounded like absolute heaven. She got out of bed and padded to the bathroom, looking at herself in the mirror. At 26, she felt like she was finally coming into her own, professionally successful, personally happy, and deeply in love for the first time in her life. Her long blonde hair was tousled from sleep, and her green eyes sparkled with anticipation for the day ahead. She showered quickly, taking time to shave her legs and apply her favorite coconut-scented lotion. For today's outfit, she had chosen carefully, a light blue sundress that was both comfortable and flattering, with thin straps and a flowing skirt that would be perfect for a day on the water. Underneath, she wore a simple bikini. Daniel had promised they might find a private spot for swimming. She packed a small bag with sunscreen, a towel, her camera, and a light cardigan in case it got breezy on the water. By 7:30 a.m., she was ready, standing by her window with a coffee, watching London slowly wake up. Her neighborhood in Notting Hill was already showing signs of life. Joggers passing by, cafes opening their doors, the distinctive red double-decker buses beginning their routes. Her phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. "On my way to pick you up, beautiful. ETA 15 minutes. Hope you're ready for the best day ever." Olivia smiled and texted back. "Been ready since I woke up. Can't wait to see you." When Daniel's car pulled up outside her building, Olivia grabbed her bag and hurried down. He was leaning against his vintage Land Rover, looking impossibly handsome in khaki shorts and a white linen shirt, his dark hair slightly windswept. When he saw her, his face lit up with that smile that never failed to make her heart skip. "There's my girl," he said, pulling her into a tight embrace and kissing her deeply. "You look absolutely stunning." "You don't look so bad yourself," Olivia teased, running her hand through his hair. "So, are you finally going to tell me exactly where we're going?" "Patience," Daniel said with a mysterious smile. "I promise you're going to love it. I've packed everything we need: food, drinks, blankets, music. All you need to do is relax and enjoy." He opened the passenger door for her with exaggerated chivalry, making her laugh. As they drove through London's streets, heading west out of the city, they talked and laughed, the radio playing softly in the background. Daniel's hand rested on her thigh as he drove, his thumb occasionally rubbing gentle circles that made her skin tingle. "I've been looking forward to this all week," Olivia admitted. "Work has been insane. My boss has been piling on projects, and I've barely had time to breathe." "Then today is exactly what you need," Daniel said. "No work talk, no stress, no obligations. Just us and the river." They drove for about an hour, leaving London behind and entering the beautiful English countryside. The landscape transformed from urban sprawl to rolling green hills, charming villages, and eventually glimpses of the River Thames winding through the landscape like a silver ribbon. Finally, Daniel turned onto a narrow country road and then into a small marina. It was nothing like the busy, touristy river areas closer to London. This was quiet, peaceful, with only a handful of boats docked and no crowds in sight. "We're here," Daniel announced, parking the car. "Welcome to Maple Durham. It's a little village that time forgot. The river here is beautiful, and I know a perfect island upstream where we can dock and have lunch." Olivia looked around, enchanted. The marina was charming, with wooden docks extending into the clear water. Willow trees draped over the riverbank, and she could hear birds singing. It felt like they had stepped into a different world, far from the hustle of London. Daniel led her to a beautiful wooden rowing boat that he had apparently rented for the day. It wasn't a modern motorboat, but rather a classic, romantic vessel that looked like something from Jane Austen novel. The boat had comfortable cushioned seats, and Daniel had already loaded it with a large picnic basket, blankets, and what looked like a cooler. "My lady," Daniel said with a playful bow, offering his hand to help her into the boat. Olivia stepped carefully into the gently rocking vessel, settling onto the cushioned seat. The boat swayed slightly, and she grabbed the sides, laughing nervously. "I hope you know how to actually row this thing." "I've spent summers rowing at Cambridge," Daniel assured her, untying the boat from the dock and pushing off. "Trust me, I've got this." And he did. As Daniel began to row, his movements were smooth and practiced. They glided away from the marina, out onto the main river. The morning sun sparkled on the water's surface, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers and fresh water. Olivia leaned back, trailing her fingers in the cool water, watching Daniel row. There was something incredibly attractive about watching him like this. His shirt sleeves rolled up, his arms flexing with each stroke, his face concentrated but peaceful. This was a side of him she rarely saw in London, relaxed, in his element, completely at ease. "This is perfect," she breathed, looking around at the beautiful scenery. The riverbanks were lined with lush greenery, and in the distance, she could see an old stone bridge and what looked like a historic manor house. "Daniel, this is absolutely perfect." "Just wait," he said with a knowing smile. "The best is yet to come." They rowed upstream for about 20 minutes, Daniel pointing out interesting sights along the way. A heron fishing in the shallows, a family of ducks with ducklings paddling along, a particularly beautiful weeping willow that created a natural archway over the water. The further they went, the quieter and more secluded it became. They passed only one other boat, whose occupants waved cheerfully. "There," Daniel said, gesturing ahead, "that's where we're going." Olivia looked and saw a small island in the middle of the river, covered with trees and wildflowers. It was like something from a fairy tale, a secret, magical place hidden in plain sight. "Is that private? Are we allowed to go there?" "It's public land, but hardly anyone knows about it," Daniel explained as he rowed towards it. "I discovered it last summer when I was out here taking photos. It's the perfect picnic spot, and I've never seen anyone else there." As they approached the island, Olivia could see a small natural beach area where they could dock the boat. Her excitement grew. This was exactly the kind of adventure she loved. Something unexpected, something romantic, something just for the two of them. Daniel expertly maneuvered the boat to the shore, hopping out to pull it up onto the beach and secure it. Then he turned and held out both hands to Olivia. "Welcome to our island," he said, his eyes full of warmth and promise. Olivia took his hands and stepped out of the boat, her feet sinking slightly into the soft sand. She looked around, taking in their private paradise. The island was small, maybe the size of a football field, but it was absolutely beautiful. Trees provided shade, wildflowers added splashes of color, and the sound of the river flowing around them was incredibly peaceful. "This is magical," Olivia whispered, turning in a slow circle. "I can't believe places like this exist so close to London." "The best things are often hidden," Daniel said, coming to stand behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. He kissed her softly on the neck. "Like you were, before I found you." Olivia turned in his arms and kissed him properly, deeply, feeling that familiar spark of electricity between them. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. "Come on," Daniel said, taking her hand. "Let's explore our kingdom."
Boat and taking a quick walk around the island to explore, Daniel and Olivia returned to the boat with an idea. The day was warming up beautifully, and the gentle rocking of the boat on the calm water seemed to call to them. "You know what?" Daniel said, looking at the boat with a mischievous glint in his eye. "I think we should have our lunch right here, on the boat. It's anchored safely, and there's something incredibly romantic about dining on the water." "I love that idea," Olivia agreed, already imagining how peaceful it would be. Daniel retrieved the large picnic basket and cooler from the boat, while Olivia arranged the cushions and blankets to create a comfortable lounging area. He had thought of everything: soft pillows, a thick blanket for them to sit on, and even battery-powered fairy lights that he strung along the boat's interior, explaining with a grin, for later when the sun sets. Once everything was arranged, they settled into the boat together. Daniel opened the picnic basket to reveal an impressive spread: fresh strawberries, grapes, artisan cheeses, crackers, chocolate-covered almonds, and sandwiches made with crusty bread and what looked like expensive deli meats. From the cooler, he produced a chilled bottle of champagne and 2 proper champagne flutes. "Daniel!" Olivia exclaimed. "When did you plan all this?" "I might have spent all of yesterday afternoon shopping and preparing," he admitted, looking pleased with her reaction. "I wanted today to be special. You deserve special, Olivia." He popped the champagne cork, which flew off into the river with a satisfying pop, and poured them each a glass. They clinked their glasses together, the crystal ringing clearly in the quiet air. "To us," Daniel toasted, his dark eyes intense as they looked into hers. "To stolen moments, secret islands, and the most beautiful woman I've ever known." "To adventures," Olivia added, "and to the man who makes every day feel like one." They sipped the champagne. It was crisp and perfect, bubbles dancing on Olivia's tongue. The boat rocked gently beneath them, the water lapping softly against its wooden sides. The sun was warm on their skin, but a gentle breeze kept it from being too hot. It was, Olivia thought, absolutely perfect. They fed each other strawberries and cheese, laughing when Daniel deliberately missed her mouth and got cheese on her nose. Olivia retaliated by smearing a chocolate-covered almond on his chin, then kissing it off slowly, teasingly. "You're dangerous," Daniel murmured, pulling her closer. "You have no idea," Olivia whispered back. After they had eaten their fill, they lay back together on the cushions, Olivia's head resting on Daniel's chest, his arm wrapped securely around her. The boat rocked them gently, almost like a cradle, and Olivia felt more relaxed than she had in months. "Tell me something," Daniel said softly, his fingers playing with her long blonde hair. "What are you thinking right now?" Olivia was quiet for a moment, trying to capture her feelings in words. "I'm thinking that I've never been this happy, that life in London can be so rushed and chaotic that I sometimes forget to just be. But right now, right here with you, I feel completely at peace, like this is exactly where I'm meant to be." Daniel's arm tightened around her. "I know exactly what you mean. When I'm with you, everything else fades away. The stress, the deadlines, the noise, it all disappears, and there's just us." They lay in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the sounds around them, the river flowing, birds calling, the gentle creaking of the boat. Then Daniel shifted, turning onto his side to face her. "Olivia," he said softly, his voice taking on a more serious tone, "these past 8 months with you have been the best of my life. I know we haven't been together that long."
Daniel spread out one of the blankets in the clearing while Olivia explored the perimeter, taking everything in. The island was small enough to feel intimate, but large enough to feel like a real adventure. She could see the river flowing on all sides, other boats occasionally passing in the distance, but none coming close to their private sanctuary. "Look at this," Olivia called out, having discovered a massive old oak tree at the edge of the clearing. Its trunk was easily 6 feet in diameter, and its branches spread out like welcoming arms. Carved into the bark were dozens of initials and dates, some looking decades old. Daniel came to stand beside her, examining the carvings. "People have been coming here for years," he observed. "Look, this one says MR plus JT 1987. That's almost 40 years ago." "It's romantic," Olivia said, tracing one of the older carvings with her finger. "All these couples who found this place, who wanted to leave their mark, to say, we were here, we mattered." "Should we add ours?" Daniel asked, pulling out a pocket knife. Olivia looked at him, touched. "Really? You'd do that?" "Of course. I want proof that on this perfect day in June 2025, Olivia and Daniel were here, on this island, completely in love." He began carefully carving into the tree, choosing a spot near eye level. OM plus DR, June 2025. Olivia watched him work, feeling her heart swell with emotion. There was something deeply meaningful about this gesture, making their mark, literally becoming part of this place's history. When he was finished, they both stepped back to admire his handiwork. The fresh carving stood out against the weathered wood, but Olivia knew that with time, it would fade and blend in with all the others, becoming part of the tree's story. "Perfect," she said softly, taking his hand. "Now we're officially part of this island's history."
"And the island is part of ours," Daniel added, kissing her temple. They continued exploring, finding little treasures everywhere they looked. A cluster of wild daisies that Olivia picked and tucked into her hair, a smooth, flat stone by the water's edge that was perfect for skipping. Daniel managed 5 skips, while Olivia's best was 3, which led to playful competition and laughter. A family of moorhens with tiny chicks that paddled along the island's shore, making Olivia squeal with delight at their cuteness. "I wish we could stay here forever," Olivia said as they walked hand in hand along the island's perimeter. "Just forget about London and real life and live here like modern-day castaways." "That does sound appealing," Daniel agreed, "though we might struggle with the Wi-Fi situation." Olivia laughed. "Always practical. Fine, we'll visit civilization occasionally for internet and coffee, but otherwise, this could be our kingdom." "You know what this place needs?" Daniel said, struck by sudden inspiration. "Photos. I can't believe I haven't pulled out my camera yet." "The photographer in you is finally emerging. I was wondering when that would happen." Daniel jogged back to their blanket where his camera bag was stashed. He returned with his professional camera, a gleam of artistic passion in his eyes that Olivia knew well. She had seen him many times when he was working on a project or had spotted the perfect shot. "Let me photograph you. Here, in this place. I want to remember you exactly like this, windswept and beautiful, with flowers in your hair, looking completely free." "I'm not a model," Olivia protested, but she was smiling. She loved when Daniel photographed her, loved seeing herself through his eyes in the images he captured. "You're better than a model," Daniel said, already framing shots. "You're real. Now just be natural. Do whatever feels right." At first, Olivia felt self-conscious, posing awkwardly by the tree or looking stiffly at the camera, but Daniel kept encouraging her, making her laugh with silly jokes and outrageous requests. "Now, pretend you're a woodland fairy. No, wait, a mermaid who's lost her ocean. Okay, just be yourself." Eventually, she relaxed into it. She ran her hands through her hair, let the wind catch her sundress, laughed genuinely at Daniel's antics behind the camera. She lay in the grass among the wildflowers, sat on the riverbank with her feet dangling in the water, leaned against the oak tree where their initials were carved. "You're stunning," Daniel kept saying, his shutter clicking rapidly. "Absolutely stunning." "Let me take some of you," Olivia insisted after a while. "You can't be behind the camera for all of our memories today." Daniel reluctantly agreed, handing over his precious camera with explicit instructions on how to handle it. Olivia laughed at his protectiveness, but handled it carefully. She had him posed by the river, on the boat, under the trees. She captured him mid-laugh, looking relaxed and genuinely happy in a way he rarely looked in the city. "Now together," Daniel said, setting up the camera on a timer. They tried several poses, standing together with the river in the background, sitting on the blanket with the trees behind them, kissing by the oak tree. Each time they had to race to get into position before the timer went off, which led to fits of giggles and several blurry shots. Finally, they got one that was perfect. The two of them sitting close together on their blanket, Olivia leaning into Daniel's embrace, both looking at the camera with genuine smiles and obvious love in their eyes. The late afternoon sun cast them in golden light, and the river sparkled in the background. "That's the one," Daniel said, reviewing it on the camera's screen. "That's us. That's this moment." As the afternoon wore on toward evening, they settled back on their blanket in the clearing. Daniel had brought a portable speaker, and he put on a playlist of soft, romantic music. They shared the last of the food, talked about everything and nothing, and simply enjoyed being together. "Tell me something you've never told anyone else," Olivia said, lying with her head in Daniel's lap while he stroked her hair. Daniel thought for a moment. "When I was 10, I found a baby bird that had fallen from its nest. I tried to save it, took care of it for 3 days, but it died anyway. I cried for hours, and I've never told anyone that. My father would have thought I was being too soft." "That's not soft," Olivia said gently. "That's having a good heart. It's one of the things I love about you. You feel things deeply." "Your turn," Daniel prompted. "Tell me a secret." Olivia was quiet, thinking, "Before I met you, I was starting to believe I might never find this. Real love, I mean. I dated, had relationships, but nothing that felt essential. I was beginning to think maybe I was too picky,
Or maybe that kind of love only existed in movies. And then I met you, and suddenly everything I'd been waiting for made sense. Daniel leaned down and kissed her softly. I know exactly what you mean. I'd almost given up too. And then there you were, arguing with a barista about whether a cappuccino should have foam or not. Olivia laughed, remembering their first meeting. I still maintain that it should have more foam. And I still think you're adorable when you're being particular about coffee, Daniel replied. As the sun began to sink lower, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, they settled back on their blanket in comfortable silence. This, Olivia thought, was what happiness felt like. Not constant excitement or grand gestures, but these quiet moments of perfect contentment with the right person. We should probably think about heading back soon, Daniel said reluctantly as the sky darkened. Just a little longer, Olivia pleaded. I'm not ready for this day to end. It doesn't have to end, Daniel said. We can come back. This can be our place. And besides, the day doesn't end just because we leave the island. We still have the drive home, and I was thinking maybe you'd want to stay at my place tonight. I make a mean pasta, and I'm not ready to say goodbye to you yet. I'd love that, Olivia said, her heart full. They began gathering their things, carefully packing up the picnic basket and folding the blankets. Olivia took one last look around their island, at the trees, the flowers, the oak with their initials carved into it, the clearing that had been their sanctuary for the afternoon. Thank you, she said to Daniel as they walked back to the boat, hand in hand. For today, for this place, for all of it. This has been one of the best days of my life. Mine too. And you know what? This is just the beginning. We have so many more adventures ahead of us.
Loading the boat took longer than expected because they kept stopping to kiss, to laugh, to steal one more moment together on the island before leaving. Finally, everything was packed and they pushed the boat back into the water. This time, Olivia insisted on helping with the rowing. Show me how, she said. I want to learn. Daniel positioned himself behind her, his arms alongside hers, his hands over hers on the oars. It's all about rhythm, he explained, his breath warm against her ear. Pull back together, then forward. See, we're moving. They rowed together like that for several minutes, Olivia laughing when they went in slightly crooked lines at first, then finding their rhythm and gliding more smoothly through the water. It felt symbolic somehow, learning to move together, to synchronize their efforts, to work as a team. You're a natural, Daniel praised, though Olivia suspected he was still doing most of the work. I have a good teacher, she replied, tilting her head back for a kiss. Eventually, they switched positions, with Daniel taking over the rowing completely while Olivia sat facing him, her feet tucked under his legs, watching him work. The sun was setting now, turning the river into liquid gold. The air had cooled slightly, and Olivia pulled on her cardigan, but it was still pleasant. The river seemed different in the evening light, more magical somehow, more dreamlike. They passed a pub on the riverbank where people sat in the garden, their laughter carrying across the water. They waved, and Olivia and Daniel waved back. Do you ever think about what other people see when they look at us? Olivia mused. Like those people at the pub. They probably just see a couple in a boat. They have no idea about our whole day, about what this means to us. That's the thing about love, Daniel said thoughtfully, his rowing steady and rhythmic. It's this huge, all-consuming thing for the people experiencing it, but from the outside, it just looks like any other couple. But that's what makes it special. It's ours, our secret, even when we're in plain sight. That's beautiful, Olivia said, and slightly philosophical for someone who's been rowing for an hour. I contain multitudes, Daniel joked, making Olivia laugh. As they rowed, they talked about their future, not in concrete terms, but in dreams and possibilities, where they might travel together, what their perfect home might look like, what kind of life they wanted to build. I want a garden, Olivia said. I know that sounds silly for someone living in London, but someday I want a place with a real garden where I can grow tomatoes and herbs and have a spot to sit outside in the morning with coffee. That doesn't sound silly at all, Daniel assured her. I want a space for a proper darkroom and studio, somewhere I can work on my photography seriously, not just as a side gig. We should find a place together, Olivia heard herself say, then blushed. Sorry, that was presumptuous. We haven't even talked about... I love that idea, Daniel interrupted, his face lighting up. Not right away necessarily, but soon, when we're ready. I want that, Olivia. I want to wake up next to you every morning to build a life with you." "Really?" Olivia felt tears pricking her eyes again. Happy tears seemed to be the theme of the day. "Really, I've never been more certain about anything." They were approaching the marina now, their day coming to a close. Olivia felt a bittersweet pang. She was sad that their adventure was ending, but she was also filled with hope and excitement for the future Daniel was describing. As they docked the boat, the marina owner came out to help them. "Have a good day on the water?" he asked cheerfully. "The best," Daniel confirmed, helping Olivia out of the boat. "We found a little island upstream, spent the afternoon there." "Ah, you found it," the man said, his weathered face breaking into a grin. "That's a special spot. My wife and I used to go there when we were courting, back in the 70s. Made our mark on that old oak tree and everything." Olivia's eyes widened. "You're one of the carvings." "RW plus MS 1973, he confirmed with a nod. "We got married the next year, and we've been together ever since. That island's got good energy, if you believe in that sort of thing. Couples who visit there seem to work out." "We added our initials today," Daniel shared, wrapping his arm around Olivia's waist. "OM plus DR 2025. The old man's smile widened. "Then I reckon you two will work out just fine. That island's got a way of sealing the deal, so to speak." As they drove away from the marina, Olivia couldn't stop thinking about the old man's words. "Do you believe that?" she asked Daniel, "about the island having special energy?" "I believe that special places can hold special meaning. Whether the island itself has magic, or whether we bring the magic with us and the island just provides the setting, does it matter? Today was magical, and that's what counts." "You're right," Olivia agreed, leaning her head on his shoulder as he drove. "Today was perfect. Everything about it." They stopped at a small village shop on the way back to pick up ingredients for dinner: fresh pasta, tomatoes, basil, garlic, parmesan. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman, smiled at them as they wandered the aisles hand in hand. "You two have that look," she commented at the checkout. "What look?" Olivia asked, curious. "The look of people who've spent the day falling more in love," the woman said matter-of-factly. "I've been running this shop for 40 years. I can always tell." Olivia and Daniel exchanged glances and laughed. "Is it that obvious?" Daniel asked. "It's lovely," the woman assured them. "We need more of that in the world. Young people genuinely in love, taking time for each other. You hold on to that, you hear me? The world will try to rush you, distract you, pull you apart, but you hold on." "We will," Olivia promised, meaning it with her whole heart. Back in the car, as darkness fell completely and they joined the motorway back to London, Olivia felt a deep sense of contentment. The city lights appeared on the horizon, London welcoming them back in, but she didn't feel the usual Sunday anxiety about the weekend ending and work week beginning. "I don't want to go back to my place," she said suddenly. "Not tonight. I want to stay with you." "I was hoping you'd say that," Daniel replied, squeezing her hand. "Your toothbrush is still in my bathroom from last time, and I think you left a t-shirt there too. You're slowly moving in without even realizing it." "Maybe that's my secret plan," Olivia teased. "Leave things behind until one day you realize I basically live there." "I wouldn't complain," Daniel said seriously. "I love having you there. My place feels more like home when you're in it." They drove through London streets, familiar territory now after their day in the countryside. Daniel's flat was... When they arrived, they worked together to prepare dinner, moving around Daniel's small kitchen in comfortable synchronicity. Daniel chopped garlic while Olivia diced tomatoes. They sipped wine and laughed as Daniel told stories about cooking disasters from his bachelor days before he'd learned to actually cook. "I once set off the fire alarm making scrambled eggs," Daniel confessed. "I still don't know how that's possible, but I managed it." "That's impressively bad," Olivia giggled. "I once burned water trying to make tea. Just forgot about the kettle until all the water boiled away and the kettle started smoking." They ate dinner on Daniel's balcony, overlooking the London streets below. The city was alive with lights and movement, but up here it felt like they had their own private world. The pasta was perfect, the wine was good, and the company was even better. "Thank you," Olivia said, as they finished eating, the empty plates between them. "For today, for tonight, for everything. This has been absolutely perfect." "The day's not over yet," Daniel said mysteriously. "I have one more surprise." He led her inside to his living room, where he'd set up his laptop.
I uploaded the photos from today while you were changing for dinner. Want to see them?" They curled up together on his sofa, and Daniel clicked through the images. Olivia was amazed by what she saw. It wasn't just that the photos were technically excellent, which they were, it was that they captured something deeper. The joy in her face as she laughed, the tenderness in their expressions when they looked at each other, the magic of the island, the river, the entire day. "Daniel, these are incredible," she breathed, her eyes misting. "That's because it was real," he said simply. "Real moments, real emotions, real love. That's always the most beautiful thing to photograph." They went through all the photos, reliving the day through the images. When they reached the timer photo of them together on the blanket, Olivia touched the screen gently. "Can you print this one for me? I want to frame it." "I'll do better than that," Daniel promised. "I'll print it large format, properly, and frame it professionally. This one deserves to be displayed." Later, as they lay in Daniel's bed, Olivia tucked against his side, she reflected on the day. It had been more than just a date, more than just a romantic adventure. It had been a turning point, a day where they had both acknowledged that this was serious, that they were building something real and lasting. "I love you," she said softly into the darkness. They had said it before, but tonight it felt different, deeper, more certain. "I love you too," Daniel replied, kissing the top of her head. "Today and always."
Olivia woke the next morning to sunlight streaming through Daniel's large windows and the smell of coffee brewing. She stretched luxuriously in his bed, smiling at the memory of yesterday and the night they'd shared. She could hear Daniel moving around in the kitchen, and after a moment, he appeared in the doorway holding 2 steaming mugs. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, sitting on the edge of the bed and handing her a coffee. "I made it just how you like it. 1 sugar, splash of milk." "You're perfect," Olivia said, sitting up and accepting the mug gratefully. The coffee was indeed exactly how she liked it. Daniel had paid attention to all these small details about her, and it made her feel cherished. "So," Daniel said, his tone casual but his eyes serious, "I've been thinking about what we talked about yesterday, about finding a place together." Olivia's heart began to beat faster. "Yeah? I know it might seem fast to some people. We've been together 8 months, but I also know what I want, and I want to build a life with you. Not someday in the distant future, but now, soon." He took her hand. "What if we started looking for a place? Nothing huge, just somewhere that could be ours, somewhere with a garden for you and space for my darkroom." Olivia felt tears spring to her eyes, happy tears, always happy tears with Daniel. "Are you serious?" "Completely. I'm tired of splitting time between your flat and mine. I'm tired of having your things scattered between 2 places. I want you to come home to me every night, not just when we've planned it. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want us to have a home together." "Yes," Olivia said, without hesitation. "Yes, let's do it. Let's find our place." Daniel's face broke into a huge grin, and he pulled her into a tight embrace, coffee mugs carefully set aside. "Really? You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything," Olivia confirmed. "Yesterday showed me that I want all my days to feel like that, like an adventure with you. Whether we're on a river island or in a flat in London, as long as we're together, that's home." They spent the morning in bed talking excitedly about their plans, what neighborhoods they should consider, how many bedrooms they'd need. 2 at least, 1 for them and 1 for Daniel's photography studio, maybe a 3rd for guests or Olivia's home office, the kind of kitchen Olivia wanted for cooking, outside space for that garden she dreamed about. "This is really happening," Olivia kept saying, almost disbelieving. "We're really doing this." "We really are," Daniel confirmed, looking just as excited and slightly dazed. They eventually got dressed and walked to a nearby cafe for a proper breakfast. As they sat at a small table by the window, eating avocado toast and sipping more coffee, they pulled out their phones and started browsing rental listings. "Look at this one," Olivia said, turning her phone to show Daniel. "It's in Hackney, has a small garden, and the price isn't insane." "Save it. We'll make a list and start viewing places this week." Their conversation was interrupted by Olivia's phone ringing. It was her sister, calling for their usual Sunday morning catch-up. Olivia answered, putting it on speaker so Daniel could hear too. "Hey, Em, you're on speaker with Daniel." "Hi, Daniel," Emma's voice came through cheerfully. "How was your river date yesterday? Liv texted me you guys were going, but then I didn't hear from you all day." It was perfect, Olivia said, exchanging a warm glance with Daniel. Actually, Em, we have news. Oh my God, you're engaged, Emma squealed. No, not yet, Olivia laughed, while Daniel grinned at the yet. But we're moving in together. We're going to find a place. There was a brief pause, then Emma screamed so loudly they had to hold the phone away from their ears. Finally! I've been waiting for you two to figure this out. This is amazing. When? Where? Tell me everything. They filled Emma in on their plans, and she immediately offered to help with the apartment search. I have a friend who's a real estate agent. She can get you into places before they're publicly listed. I'll text you her number. After they hung up, Olivia was glowing. This is real. We're really doing this, moving in together, building a life. It's terrifying and exciting at the same time, Daniel admitted, but mostly exciting, especially because it's with you. Over the next few weeks, they viewed dozens of flats. Some were too small, some were too expensive, some in the wrong neighborhoods. But finally, they found it. A ground-floor flat in Stoke Newington with 2 bedrooms, a small but sunny kitchen, and most importantly, a little garden out back. It wasn't huge, but it was perfect for them. This is it, Olivia said as they stood in the empty living room during their second viewing. This is our home. I can see it, Daniel agreed, wrapping his arms around her from behind. My photography equipment in the second bedroom, your books on those shelves, us cooking together in that kitchen, coffee in the garden on Saturday mornings. Let's take it, Olivia said decisively. They signed the lease that week and spent the next month slowly moving their things in, combining 2 lives into one shared space. It was sometimes challenging. They discovered Daniel was neat while Olivia was slightly chaotic, that she liked the bedroom cold while he liked it warm, that they had very different ideas about how to organize the kitchen. But they worked through every small conflict with patience and humor, learning to compromise, to communicate, to build a partnership that was stronger than their individual preferences. On their first night in the flat, with boxes still stacked everywhere and only the bed fully assembled, they ordered takeaway and sat on the floor eating it surrounded by their unpacked belongings. This is chaos, Olivia observed, gesturing at the boxes. Beautiful chaos. This is our chaos, our home, our beginning. Remember yesterday? Olivia asked, and they both laughed because their river adventure now felt like months ago, though it had only been 5 weeks. How could I forget? Daniel said. That was the day I knew for certain. Knew what? That I wanted this. You, me, a home, a life together. All of it. Me too, Olivia agreed softly. 2 months after moving in, their flat had transformed from chaos to comfort. Daniel had set up his darkroom, and Olivia had planted tomatoes, herbs, and flowers in the garden. They had established routines, morning coffee together before work, cooking dinner together most evenings, lazy Sunday mornings reading in bed. One Saturday morning, Olivia was in the garden checking on her tomato plants when Daniel came out with his camera. Don't, Olivia protested, laughing. I'm a mess. I'm wearing my old clothes and I haven't brushed my hair. You're perfect, Daniel said, already clicking away. Just like you were on the island. Natural and beautiful and completely yourself. Later, when he showed her the photos, Olivia was surprised by what she saw. She looked happy, genuinely happy, in a way she'd never seen in photos of herself before. She was glowing from within, clearly in love and loved in return. So, can I tell you something? Daniel said, as they looked at the photos together. That day on the river, when we carved our initials into that tree, I almost proposed to you then. Olivia's eyes widened. What? Why didn't you? Because I wanted to do it right. I wanted us to have our home first. I wanted you to be absolutely certain. But Olivia, he took her hand, I've had a ring for 2 months now. I've been waiting for the right moment. Her heart was pounding. And is this the right moment? Every moment with you is right, Daniel said, and then, to her shock, he got down on one knee right there in their little garden, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. Olivia, you are my home. You are my adventure. You are my everyday and my extraordinary. I want to spend the rest of my life having days like our river day and days like today, and all the days in between. Will you marry me? Olivia was crying and laughing at the same time. Yes, yes, of course yes. The ring was perfect, a simple, elegant, solitaire diamond that was classic and timeless, just like Daniel somehow knew she'd want. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made for her.
They kissed in their garden, surrounded by the plants Olivia had grown, with the home they'd build together just steps away. And Olivia thought about that day on the river, about carving their initials into that tree, about the old man at the marina who said the island had a way of sealing the deal. Maybe it was magic. Maybe it was just two people finding each other at the right time. But either way, it had worked. That perfect day on the river had been the beginning of everything. Their life together, their home, their future. "Should we go back?" Olivia asked after they'd called their families and celebrated with champagne. "To our anniversary," Daniel promised. "Every year. It's our place, remember? Where we carved our future into that tree." "I love that idea," Olivia said. "And I love you. I love you too, today and always." As they sat together in their garden that evening, watching the sunset over London, Olivia reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From that first river adventure to this moment, engaged and building a life together, every step had felt right. Every moment had led them to exactly where they were meant to be. Sometimes the best adventures aren't about traveling far from home. Sometimes it's about finding the person who makes everywhere feel like home. And sometimes all it takes is a day on the river, a secret island, and the courage to carve your love into something permanent. Their story was just beginning, but Olivia knew, just as surely as she knew the sun would rise tomorrow, that it was going to be a beautiful one.